Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Dr. Maszlee Malik, currently the chairman for International Institute for Advanced Islamic Studies, a think tank under the Prime Minister Department of Malaysia. And I was a former MP of Simparangam in Malaysia and also a former Minister of Education.
Are there any notable contributions of Malaysian Muslims which have had an impact on the global Islamic community?
Yeah, great. It is a very significant question. The incident of the burning of Al-Aqsa in the late 60s has led towards the emergence of OIC. The very idea of the establishment of OIC, Organization of Islamic Cooperations of Islamic Countries, was proposed by then Prime Minister of Malaysia, Tunku Abdul Rahman. He brought forth the idea to the King of Saudi then and get few other Muslim countries that was just became independent states in the 60s or earlier. So they came all together to establish OIC. So that was amongst the significant contribution of at least Muslims from Malaysia. And if you're talking about other incidents that involve global Muslims, such as, the war in Afghanistan, the Palestine issue, there was an ongoing crisis that happened. Muslims in Malaysia, whether the government or leaders or organizations, they have always been part of the efforts in order to bring the awareness or to bring some actions to be done at the international level. Yeah.
Who are some of the most influential Islamic scholars that have come from Malaysia?
I'm not sure from which angle. From at the academia level, you would see people with the name of, you would see scholars like Professor Said Naqib Al-Atas, who is known of his writings, known of his thoughts worldwide, and is very famous in certain part of Muslim world, especially when you go to the UK, to the US, you'd find people like Hamza Yusuf keep quoting his name. And also at the academia level, you have people like Osman Bakar, Professor Osman Bakar, who was the disciple of Professor Said Hussein Nasr. Is amongst the notable scholar of Islam that being known by mostly Muslim scholars and Muslim researchers. But when it comes to preachers, I'm not sure whether we do have a globally renowned Muslim preachers.
There is, I think, quite a few numbers. Nick Aziz preaches one.
No, he's a politician. I'm coming to that. Oh. I'm coming there. Yeah. When it comes to politics, I think we have few names that that is known globally, like our current Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim is known amongst Muslims, leaders or certain Muslim community throughout the globe. The previous Prime Minister Mahathir Mohamad was amongst the famous names of Muslims from Malaysia that championing not only the cause of the Muslims but also cause of the southern population of the world, which is similar to our current Prime Minister, but they have two different approaches. And yeah, you mentioned earlier about the former past leader, the late Nick Aziz. Maybe he's famous at the Southeast Asian region, but maybe not at the global level yet.
For Malaysian Muslims, do they feel like they have a strong connection with the global Ummah, or do they feel like they may be a little bit separate from the rest of us?
One good thing about Muslims in Malaysia, despite of majority of the Muslim are Malays, and Malays always feel that Islam is somehow semi-exclusive to them, but they always feel connected to Muslims from all over the world. This is where you would see a lot of events in Malaysia when you have issues that happen to Muslims throughout the globe, whether it's in the Middle East, whether it's in Africa, whether it's in China, whether it's in India, whether it's everywhere. You would see a lot of responses from Malaysian Muslims. Maybe they're not keen to organize big rally or mass rally that we normally see on the street of London, but they're talking about it. Sometimes, especially on the social media, you could see the vibes of those discussions, and we're talking about the sense of solidarity amongst Muslims in Malaysia towards other Muslims from different parts of the globe. I mean, you could feel it when the leaders of Malaysia, which Muslim leaders, have to succumb to that pressure. They need to address Muslim issues whenever they're dealing with the masses. Yeah.
So, I mean, connected to that then, and to be honest, this next question, I think you may be the perfect man for this, because not only are you an Asian man, Muslim man, but you're also an academic and a politician. So, how does Malaysia view global issues which involve Muslims? And in particular, I want you to take into mind the Palestinian conflict that's currently going on, as well as the situation with the Rohingyas. So, how do the Malaysian Muslims view these problems?
Okay, it depends. But most of the Muslims, when they're looking at the issue, the first thing to come into their mind that those are our Muslim brothers, and those are people who recite Shahada like them. Those are people who plead for help. Those are the victims, and they recite the same Shahada, they're reading the same Quran, and they're facing the same Kaaba. So we need to help them. The sense of solidarity is always there. But also they're looking at it not only from that single perspective, they're also looking at it from the perspective of justice. Regardless whether they are Muslims or not, what more if they are Muslims, is a matter of justice. Injustice has happened, and they are the victims, and we need to help the victims. And that's how they look at the issues. But for the Palestine issue, although most of Muslims looking at it solely from religious point of view, but I think the younger generation are more advanced in looking at that issue by looking at it from not only the justice perspective, but also humanitarian perspective. And they're trying to convince their non-Muslims non-Muslim friends that this issue goes beyond religious remit. It's about somebody who has been, a community, a society that been killed, been slaughtered, genocide that happened. If now it happened in that specific place, who knows that, na'uzubillah, God forbid, it will happen to you. What if people looking at you and saying that, oh, we have nothing to do with you? No, human are human. Life is life. Yeah.